We move on to the next subtopic, that is oral sources. Ovies, folk songs, folk tales, and similar literature is passed on from generation to generation by word of mouth. The Ovies is a poetic rhythmic structure used in Marathi poems. Folk songs tell stories about society in parable form, and folk tales is a story passed by the word of mouth. Oral histories are accounts given by a person of events earlier in their life. Oral history enables people to share their stories in their own words, with their own voices, through their own understanding of what happened and why. This literature is not in the written form, its authors are unknown. This type of literature, preserved by oral tradition, forms the oral sources of history. The next subtopic is sources of ancient Indian history. The ancient period of Indian history extends from the Stone Age to the 8th century CE. We learn about the Stone Age period of Indian history through archaeological excavations. Archaeologists are those who study the past. They study the remains of old buildings, paintings, sculpture, utensils, coins, bones, etc. Since scripts had not developed at that time, no written sources are available. However, information about the ancient period from 1500 BCE onwards can be derived from the Vedic literature. In the beginning, the Vedas were not in the written form. The ancient Indians had developed the technique of memorizing and reciting them. The Vedas were written down later on. The Vedas and the post Vedic literature form an important source of ancient Indian history. It includes the Brahmanas, the Upanishads, the epics Ramayana and Mahabharata, the Jain and Buddhist literature, plays, poems, stone and pillar inscriptions, travelogues of foreign travelers, etc. We also learn about the ancient Indian history through material sources like archaeological remains, ancient monuments, and coins found in the excavation. We move on to the last subtopic of this lesson, precautions to be taken while writing history. It is necessary to take precautions while using these sources to write history. A written document cannot be said to be authentic, that is, genuine, just because it is old. It needs to be examined critically as to who wrote it, why, and when it was written. For a complete and accurate understanding of past events, historians have to consider all the available sources. Learning about the past is like an adventure as it gets reconstructed bit by bit. So, historians and archaeologists are like detectives who use all the available sources like clues to find out about our past history. Therefore, the conclusions drawn on the basis of various genuine documents have to be cross checked and corroborated with one another. Corroborated means confirmed with one another. Such a critical analysis is very important in the writing of history.